Hi, I'm Mary Kopsinski, the CEO of Regalytics. Here's your update of the week's 26,134 alerts. Anything going on this week? Anything? Kind of a boring week, huh? Just kidding. When we first made Regalytics, we thought we were going to be a compliance tool for banks. And we had a customer come in, this is before the pandemic, and she asked me to shrink the alerts to state level insurance regulators on annuities related stuff only, which I did. And then she said, "Aw, but then I miss all those blockchain alerts." And that's when I realized no one really knows what they want. Did any of you know that you cared one iota about Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, or Silvergate Bank? I've certainly heard of Silicon Valley Bank, and I was actually hoping to open an account there as soon as I closed my big investment round. So I guess I'm lucky. But we built Regalytics just for this use case, for when you need to suddenly know something that you didn't know you needed to know. So I will tell you the facts. In 2020, there was one alert on Silicon Valley Bank. In 2021, there were 4. In 2022, there were 8. And most of them were CFPB complaints against Silicon Valley Bank, which indicates typically that the regulators are starting to realize there's trouble a brew. It's becoming a grown-up bank. And now, of course, there have been 35 alerts in the last 7 days from over 26 regulators in 5 countries and 4 states. And more are coming tomorrow. And I have it all. And I can even forward it to you in a little Excel spreadsheet if you want. Okay, so what do you need to know? Well, I'm fairly certain that thanks to all the work that many of us put in to ensure that the financial crisis wouldn't happen again, Wall Street will absorb this loss and be just fine. It's definitely a bummer for people at startups and the entire venture capital community, especially in Silicon Valley. But I'm pretty sure the big ones are going to be around. The big banks are going to be around just fine. One can hope. God knows what else is going to happen. If any of you want a rundown on what actually happened, there's tons of information out there, so I don't want to be repetitive. But essentially, 3 banks were declared insolvent, 2 in California and 1 in New York. And the local state financial regulators referred them to the FDIC, which created brand new legal entities to manage the affairs of the banks while they put them up for sale. There is sadly a well-worn path of what's going to happen next. But what is interesting is the greater impact to fintechs, the venture capital community generally, and how regulators want to proceed with these so-called neobanks. After FTX, many of the regulators are blatantly rejecting any type of formal financial charter for these fintech or digital asset banks or whatever it is that they're trying to do. But a bank is a bank. If you deliver banking services, even in a novel way, you need to be acting within the bounds of banking regulation. Hester Pierce and Mark Yeda of the SEC put out a statement irritated about this, that basically the SEC is regulating through denials instead of passing laws about how to get accepted. And they observed that every normal commodity exchange traded product is getting passed, but if it's linked to Bitcoin or Ethereum, there is apparently a secret set of rules that apply. These commissioners are arguing that it's not helping with market innovation or capital formation, which is a task that the SEC is charged with. Speaking of crypto crackdown, the FCA in the UK is taking further action against unregistered crypto ATMs in London, so watch out there. But in crypto happiness, Wyoming did pass the Wyoming Digital Asset Registration Act, so that's progress. On to other topics. The FTC is working to block a big merger between ICE and its top mortgage competitor, Black Knight. And finally, 3 of the states passed laws this week having to do with elections. So get ready, because election season is upon us, and there are movements on both sides to try to influence the outcome. So stay tuned. But meanwhile, that's it for Regalytics. Join me every Wednesday for your dose of regulatory news.